Welcome to the DL Jones Book Show, and on this episode, I'm going to be talking about the finale of the Falcon and the Winter Solder TV show. I'm going to be talking about the whole season, but I'm basically going to be talking about the finale, give you my thoughts on the show, what I think about, how I felt about the show and everything, and how much I enjoyed the show, or maybe not enjoyed the show. But you'll hear about that right after the intro. Welcome to the DL Jones Book Show. I'm your host, DL Jones, and on this channel, I talk about all types of story-related topics, anything to deal with movies, TV shows, books, video game, anything that has a story could potentially be a topic on this show. So, Falcon and the Winter Solder. The series is over, at least the first season. I'm not sure if there's going to be a second season or not, but the first season, the series is over. I've seen every episode. I like the show. I'll tell you that up front. But it's not quite that easy. But first, let's talk about this first season. Let's talk about the first season, and then we're going to get into the finale. So basically, the Falcon and the Winter Solder takes place, after, everybody's came back in the Marvel universe. Everybody's came back from the snap and everything. And what brings them together is, if you remember at the end of Infinity War, the old elderly Captain America gave Falcon, Sam Wilson, the shield. I guess he was kind of like handing over the torch to Sam Wilson. It was meant he gave it to him, I guess, with intentions of him taking up the mantle of Captain America. Well, Sam Wilson didn't want to do it, so at the beginning of this season, in the first episode, they show where he donated the shield with intentions of it to be put in like a museum, sort of like a, for history's sake and stuff like that. But so he didn't take up the mantle. He felt like it wasn't his place, and that shield belongs in a museum. It wasn't like something that he needed to continue on because he wasn't the person that made that shield what it was, So on the other hand, you have Bucky, the Winter Soldier. You remember the last thing that happened at the end of Captain America Civil War, all of that stuff. He was taken to Wakanda. He had been an assassin for years, kind of being an assassin against his will. He was taken to Wakanda at the end of Captain America Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War. And what they did with him is they deprogrammed him, because if you remember, he was programmed to follow orders after certain words or phrases were said, and he basically didn't have control over it. So he was taken to Wakanda, and of course, he was deprogrammed. And now, at the beginning of this series, they show him he's trying to atone for all of the bad things he's did. He's trying to live with it. He's trying to he got a lot of guilt because he did a lot of bad things. So he's trying to atone for it, But he hears about Sam Wilson giving away his shield, so he goes to speak to Sam Wilson. And that's how them two get together. That's how they get together. That's how they start talking, because Falcon pretty much turned away the shield, and Bucky, the Winter Soldier, he didn't agree with it. So he went to speak to Falcon to see why why he gave up the shield. But that takes us into the plot of the season and what they end up doing for the whole season. So what happens, or what is going on, is that there's this terrorist group, or they don't consider themselves terrorists, but they're basically a terrorist group. They call themselves the Flag Smashers. And what they are is they are people who, during the blip, the 5 years where half the population was gone, they had made a life for themselves. They were probably like unfortunate people beforehand, but after the blip was gone, they had made a life for themselves. They have, they all were living lives. They all had houses and homes and all of this kind of stuff. And then when everybody returned, a lot of those people were back, with nowhere to go, because they were living in places that belonged to some of the people that was gone away for the blip. So when they returned, they had nowhere to go. They were stuck. They were back being refugees and living in living wherever they could, just trying to make it again, And the Flag Smashers is a terrorist group that wants to, get people to give them back what they had while they was during the blip and stuff was going on. Everything had been ripped from them, and the Flag Smashers is like a terrorist group that's just trying to force things to go back to the way it was when half the world's population was gone. All right, so one of the main things about the Flag Smashers is that a group of them somehow got their hands on some super soldier serum. So not only are they terrorists, but they're kind of like super soldier. They got superpowers. They're strong and fast and stuff. They got the same kind of serum that Captain America had, that made him Captain America, except their serum is a watered down version. It doesn't make them as strong or as capable as Captain America, but even a watered down version still gave them superpowers, still gave them super strength, agility, and all of that kind of stuff. And then that's where Falcon comes in. Falcon goes to investigate this. He's going to try to put a stop to the Flag Smashers, trying to find out where they're getting the super soldier serum and all of this kind of stuff. And it just so happened that he goes on a mission to try to do this while Bucky is there trying to talk to him about the shield, and they end up teaming up to go try to find out what's going on. They're kind of like a reluctant team, but they teaming up. It's sort of like a buddy cop type situation where those two are playing like, they respect each other obviously, but they don't they're not considering each other friends. They're kind of bickering back and forth with each other in a fun way for the most part the whole time, but that's how they team up, and that the whole season is based on them trying to stop the Flag Smashers and them dealing with the loss of Captain America. So the season throws a couple of things in as things go along. First of all, you find out that the shield that Sam Wilson, the Falcon, had given for them to put in the museum or something, you found out that the US, the military, has actually hired a new person to be the new Captain America and gave that person the shield. And that person ended up being a point of contention because it starts off where he was kind of like a likable person, like he's just trying to live up to the name, but then he kind of got to where he was just a little too much. He was too brutal. And he ended up taking some of that. He ended up taking some of this super soldier serum himself and gaining some powers. And it just they had problems with him, accepting the mantle. And it really came to a head when he actually killed someone in front of everybody, because his partner had gotten killed during a battle. So he, out of anger, he caught somebody and just killed him with the shield, like in the middle of everybody. The cameras and everything saw it, and then he was pretty much fired from being Captain America. But he wouldn't give up the shield. And then you find out about the Isaiah. Isaiah was the first black Captain America, but he had a history that was like a really proud history that was pretty much hidden from everybody. Nobody knew about it, and he pretty much spent 30 years in jail, and he was tortured and all of that kind of stuff after serving his country, and it was all like kind of swept from the history books. But that brought in a lot of things that went on, as far as dealing with black superheroes. They had scenes where Sam Wilson, was trying to get a bank loan and couldn't get a bank loan and stuff like that. There was also a scene where it was like a little bit of a, police stop, similar to stuff you see going on today in the real world. Just because he's the Falcon, just because he helped save the world, he wasn't immune to that stuff. And they kind of brought those things to light in this series. They didn't dwell on it too much, but they made it enough of a factor, of a focus, to where, it made you think, and it didn't knock you over the head with it. So that's basically the season. I tried to explain what happened in the season without giving away too many spoilers. I know if you watched the season already, I know I left out a whole lot of stuff. I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't seen it yet. But that just give you a gist of what happened in the first season. Now for the finale, the finale starts off where the Flag Smashers, is where they made their grandstand, and they pretty much kidnapped a bunch of people, and you left it up to Bucky and Falcon to try to save the day. And they were also working with Agent Carter, Sharon Carter. She comes throughout the season too, but they was also working with her, and then the second Captain America whose title was ripped from him, he ended up in the mix too. But so they trying to save all of these senators that was kidnapped and all of this stuff. And the last episode, the finale episode, starts right in the middle of it. So that's what we see. Bucky, he has his battles and stuff like that, and Falcon, he finally shows up for the first time as Captain America, and he looked pretty sweet. He had on the new Falcon outfit with the Falcon wings, but the Captain America colors, and he had the shield and everything. And that was the first time throughout this whole season that he showed up as Captain America. He finally accepted the role. And he showed up in public as Captain America, taking over the mantle, and and it was pretty cool. A lot of cool fight scenes and everything. But I like that finale. The finale, I think, to be honest with you, I had more fun with the finale than I did with the whole season in general. One thing about this season of Falcon and Winter Soldier is that there was a lot of good episodes. There was a lot of story building that was pretty good. The interaction between Bucky and Falcon, that was always a pleasure to watch. I enjoyed every time those two were on the screen with each other, talking to each other. Then when they brought in Isaiah, the first Black Captain America, that was interesting. That was a tidbit of information, and the scenes with them and just hearing about that history and how this series built out that history and stuff, and seeing how Sam Wilson, once he heard about this history and stuff, how he dealt with it, how he processed it, and how it causes some kind of conflict with him as far as, should he take on the mantle or shouldn't he take on the mantle? And that was very interesting. I like that part of the show. It was really, really interesting. There was some pretty cool fight scenes. The season starts off with a really cool Falcon scene, him in the wings and everything. But there were a lot of, I want to say it was like maybe 2 or 3 episodes where they don't really do much. It's all story and no fight scenes, which is fine. But when I'm watching like a Marvel show or something like that, I want to see fight scenes. I want to see superheroes doing superhero stuff. I always say that. I was like, when I watch a superhero show, I want to see superheroes doing superhero stuff. And you didn't get that with every episode. You got a lot of story that was very interesting, that was very good. May make you feel like it was a little bit boring, because to be honest with you, the whole Flag Smasher thing was only mildly interesting. The other parts that were like secondary storylines in this series, to me, was more interesting than the main storyline. Like, I didn't care about the whole thing about who's the power broker. That was a big thing. There was a power broker. That's how the Flag Smashers got the serum. I didn't care anything about them. The Flag Smashers themselves, they just weren't that interesting. Now the leader of the Flag Smashers, a lady named Kyla, I think her name was Kyla or Kylie or something like that. She was pretty interesting, even though her character was pretty, like, whenever she had any speaking parts or anything like that, she was kind of like dry. But I like the idea of that character. I like the idea of her. But, really, I didn't care about that. That whole plot seemed like something that should have been something that happened in one episode, not a whole season, But it was the main season storyline. I don't know, but it was pretty dull, I think, But they had a couple of other interesting things that went on throughout the season, the little things that made you think, if you're Marvel fans, there were some locations that, you would remember from other Marvel characters in the comics. But yeah, for the most part, I thought the show I liked it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But I can't say that I thought it was all that good. I think that there were some parts about it that was really good and some parts that was really dull. And it could have been made up for if I didn't have this one problem. There's one problem I had with this show. And that problem is, you have our heroes. You have Falcon, Sam Wilson. And you have Bucky, the Winter Soldier, the 2 named headline characters of the series. And almost every fight that they got in, they lost. I don't think they won a fight in the whole series. Even the finale fight with Falcon, his big finale fight, even that he was saved. I don't think they won a fight in the whole thing. And I'm like, why? Why do you make them kind of like lose every fight? I don't understand it. I want to see our superheroes kicking butt, not getting their butt kicked for the whole season, But it's just weird. And you could kind of explain it away because Bucky, you know, he had this thing where he was trying to atone for the stuff he did in the past. So he was trying not to hurt people. At the beginning, he made a mention where, you know, some of his goals is not to hurt people. Then you got Falcon, you know, he's the only one out of most of the people that they fought that didn't have actual powers. I mean, he had the flight suit, he had the suit with the wings and stuff, but he didn't, you know, he's just a regular dude. You know, he don't really have any powers. So it's kind of understandable that he could, you know, that he would get beat sometime. But come on now, the Black Widow didn't have any powers, and she never got her butt kicked every time she got in fights. It didn't matter who she was fighting. Why can't they do that with Sam Wilson? It was like every fight they was tossing him around, you know. But yeah, that made it kind of frustrating, because I can deal with a show that has like some dull moments or like a storyline that I don't care about, you know, sort of like the Flag Smasher storyline. I didn't care about it. I can deal with that if the fight scenes were cool and our superheroes was kicking butt and all of that kind of, but that wasn't what happened. I mean, it was a lot of fight scenes. Some were cool, but they always lost, which leaves you unsatisfied, you know. I mean, I want to say that there's one or two episodes where Falcon doesn't even wear the wings in the whole episode. You know, I'm like, how are you going to have a show called Falcon and he's not the Falcon, you know, in the whole show, you know. But yeah, it's still a good show though. Those are like kind of my little nitpicks, and I think it's kind of personal to me. I know it's been a while since the season finale, and I've been avoiding all of the other reviews. I like to watch all of the other reviews of other, you know, what other people say about the shows. But if I'm going to do a video on it, I don't want to watch it or listen to them until I've done my video, until I've done my review, because I don't want anything that I watch or listen to have any effect on my thoughts when I make my video. So now, you know, I'm talking about this now. So the first thing I'm going to do is go and look at some of the stuff. Look at some of the other videos. I have a couple of favorite YouTubers myself that I like to watch. I want to see what they got to say. But yeah, for me, I like the show. I think it's a good show. I think you should watch it if you haven't watched it already. The finale is really good. The finale is my favorite episode. I mean, the first scene with the Falcon at the very first episode of the show and the whole finale, I really liked, you know. Those two were the highlights for me for the whole series. And it's awesome to see Sam Wilson, the Falcon, in that Captain America Falcon outfit. That was pretty cool. And, you know, and from what I understand, they just announced like yesterday or sometime that they're going to make a Captain America 4 with Sam Wilson being the Falcon. They announced that recently, so I can't wait to see that. I hope they make him a more capable person. I mean, nobody wants to see a Captain America that loses every fight he gets in. Nobody wants to see that, you know. But I hope they make him a little more capable. But yeah, I like the series. Check it out. It's on Disney Plus. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you go check it out. If you are a MCU fan, if you are a Marvel fan, it is required viewing, regardless of what my thoughts are of it. It's required viewing, you know. So go check that out if you haven't. And that's Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. Those are my thoughts. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. While you're here, why don't you check out that video right there? Or maybe that one right there. And while you're at it, go ahead and click that little picture of my image there and subscribe to my channel.